The headlines for tonight: President Marcos says the government continues to seek alternative oil supply.
Public utility vehicle drivers join nationwide strike urging the government of immediate action amid higher fuel costs.
Various agencies offer free rides for commuters affected by the nationwide transport strike.
Government-funded third chartered flights from Middle East arrived in the Philippines.
President Donald Trump says U.S. had no role in the South Pars strike. Good evening, bringing you the latest news for tonight. I am ALVIN, PELOBELLO.
And I am KRIZZA Lopez. This is Eurotv News Thread. The details in our broadcast. The government is now exploring ways to cushion the impact of the global oil prices.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. says efforts are underway to secure alternative oil sources beyond the Middle East conflict. The details on this report.
The Philippine government is now looking for alternative sources of oil outside the Middle East, according to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. The president said the government continues to find solutions to bring down the prices of food and especially fuel. He added that while the country still has sufficient oil supply, efforts are ongoing to identify other possible sources.
Patuloy ang maghanap ng Pilipinas dahil kumukuha talaga tayo sa Middle East. So naghahanap tayo ng alternative sources ng langis.
He also urged the public not to panic to avoid hoarding. The president stressed that the government is capable of managing the rise in food prices.
Ang binabantayan na lang natin ngayon ang presyuhan. Dahil sa pagkain, mas marami tayong magagawa. Pwede natin, naghahanap kami ng paraan pa para ibaba ang presyo ng pagkain. Yung langis, wala tayong magagawa dyan. Pero at least yung supply ay tinitiyak namin magkakaroon.
He assured that similar to fertilizer supply, existing contracts with suppliers will remain uninterrupted. The administration's priority, he said, is to ensure that Filipinos can continue working despite the ongoing oil crisis.
Sa halimbawa sa fertilizer, yun na petroleum product na yun, hindi problema yun dahil yung pinagkukuhanan natin na kapag nangako naman sa atin na itutuloy nila yung kanilang mga kontrata. So we are adjusting well, and we want to, ang talagang habol namin dito is to keep yung hanap buhay ng tao, na meron sila pa ring hanap buhay.
This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
Transport groups are intensifying calls for the government action amid soaring fuel prices. Drivers and operators have joined a nationwide strike to demand subsidies, fare adjustments, and tax relief. Mia Layagin tells us the details.
Jeepney driver Noel left his garage as early as 6 in the morning today like usual. Despite the usual routine, he however feels that today's trip won't be easy because his income from the 4-hour trip until 10 in the morning will more likely be spent just for diesel.
Po.
Ang pinipira pa lang po namin ngayon, pag-diesel pa lang. Kahit po sa hirap po ng biyahe. Sa gas po. Isang araw po, nakagagastos po kami ng 1.5.
1.5. Magkano kinikita natin typical sa isang araw?
Ngayon, sa ngayon po, makalat na po, kinikita kami ng 500.
1.5 yung edi wala na.
Hindi po, labas na po yun.
Yun na yung tira sana.
Yun po ang natira sa amin yun, 500.
Pero kapag yung hindi naman ganito kataas yung presyo, magkano talaga yung baboundary na uuwi natin?
Kahit paano, kikita naman po ng 800, 900, hindi po normal yung diesel lang po.
On Tuesday, another round of mega oil price hike was implemented, impacted by the disrupted supply and higher oil demand amid tension in the Middle East. Oil prices soared up to over 100 pesos per liter this week, heavily affecting motorists, particularly from the transportation sector. But unlike Noel, who opted to continue his route despite the uncertain income, his fellow jeepney drivers flocked the streets, not for flight, but for a protest. On March 19, Transport Group Piston, Bagong Alyansang Makabayan, and other progressive groups staged a nationwide transport strike and protest. This is part of their call for a swift and more concrete action from the government amid the soaring oil prices. Their calls include scrap of excise tax and VAT in oil products, junking of the oil deregulation law, lowering of oil prices, as well as an increase in fare and in wages of Filipino workers. Despite it being the main source of living for him and his family, 68-year-old Edwin joined the protest and transport strike in the streets today. This is to support the calls of drivers and operators regarding the tax and high oil prices as well as fare matters. Edwin said that despite the burden of the high oil prices, most drivers and operators still opt to operate just to secure an income.
Kahit mahal ang diesel, basta may kakarga, ang mahirap, wala kang mabiling diesel, hindi kami makakabiyahe. Kahit mahal, kakagatin mo na kasi gawa ng para sa pamilya. Sa totoo lang, pag inabot pa ito ng 2 buwan o 3 buwan, yung mga nangungupahan na driver, halos hindi na makakabayad. Kasi halos wala nang inuuwi. Uuwi ka lang ng 300, like pa nga yung mga badyaw nga kumikita. Tapos yung driver, kikita lang ng 300. Kaya karamihan ng operator, nagbababa na ng boundary. Mailabas lang yung jeep ng driver. Ganyan po.
Aside from the oil pricing issues, the groups called for the immediate distribution of subsidies promised by the government for drivers. They likewise called on the increase in PUV fares and in wages as well.
Pangulo, yung ibigay na lang yung piso ng dagdag sa pasahe, ibigay na, huwag na idamo. Dahil ang mga driver, kahit kapiranggot ibigay, basta natugunan sa gobyerno, medyo masaya na ang mga driver. Sa pasaheng piso lang dagdag. Tapos, ibasura yung regulation law, isa bansa yung industriya ng langis. Pagkatapos, kailangan talagang bat sa langis at saka ang excise tax nga, tanggalin mo na yan kasi sobrang taas ang presyo ng langis dito sa ating bansa.
Piston National President Modi Floranda emphasized that these protests and transport strikes is one of the measures they did to express their disappointment with the insufficient action from the government.
Pero bakit ang mga ordinaryong driver, ang ordinaryong mamamayan ang nagpapasan ng pasakit, tayo nagpapasan ng patuloy na pagtaas ng presyo ng petrolyo. Kaya ito pong araw na ito ay hindi matatapos ngayong buong maghapon. Ito'y panimula pa lamang na pagkilos ng mga driver at operator at ng mamamayan. Magkakaroon po tayo ng mga siri ng mga pagkilos hanggat hindi binibigay, hanggat hindi binabasura ang oil deregulation law, hanggat hindi tinatanggal ang excise tax sa langis, hanggat hindi tinatanggal ang presyo ng iwan sa langis.
The protest and transport strike were launched in various strike areas inside and outside the National Capital Region. This will continue until March 20 with the main protest to be staged at Menjola. This is Mila Yagin for Eurotv News.
Meanwhile, government agencies and local officials are stepping in to assist stranded commuters. Free rides are being offered across several areas as transport groups stage a nationwide strike. Graciela Corazon with the report.
Amid the ongoing crisis over low fuel prices, some militant groups have been unable to avoid remaining silent and ignoring the ongoing crisis in our country. Including today, the Piston Groups has called for the massive transport strike and road stop in Metro Manila. Affected by the activity is the commuters. In response, other government agencies, including the Office of the President, Department of Transportation, Philippine Coast Guard, and Philippine National Police have offered free rides. In response to the order of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. that passengers will definitely be able to get ride amid the planned road stop today. The Office of the Vice President of the Philippines or OVP is also currently providing assistance to commuters. 9 OVP buses are allocated for Metro Manila, Cebu, Davao City, Tacloban City, and Bacolod. Following this, free rides are also offered by local government units or LGUs in areas still affected by the widespread piston traffic stoppage. Under the Quezon City government, QCity bus, e-trikes, QC-owned vehicles, and barangay vehicles supported and provided assistance to commuters. The QC Police District or QCPD and Traffic and Transport Management Department TTMD are also cooperating to guide motorists and passengers. The city government of Manila, meanwhile, has already stepped up to support the people with the help of the Manila City DRRM Department and the Manila Police District. The Malabon LGU is not the last to step aside like other agencies, which are also providing assistance to those who have difficulty boarding due to the ongoing traffic jams. The Malabon Command Center is also on alert and continues to monitor and to ensure the safety of its community, which may be further affected by the traffic jams. This is Graciela Corazon for Eurotv News.
The Philippine government continues its repatriation efforts as tensions persist in the Middle East. Around 317 Filipinos have safely arrived in the country aboard of the third chartered flight, part of the evacuation ordered by the chief executive. Here's the details.
About 317 Filipinos from the Middle East were safely repatriated this Thursday aboard the government's third chartered flight. They were part of the 6 chartered flights funded by the government for the evacuation of overseas Filipino workers from the countries in the Middle East as part of the directive of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
Ito ay ang pangatlong charter flight na pinag-utos ng ating Pangulo na isagawa. At itong charter flight na ito ay manggagaling sa UAE. At lubos na pasasalamat natin sa UAE authorities sa pag-facilitate ng mga kinakailangan para makalipad itong flight na ito. 319 Filipinos ang...
Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro, as a chair of ASEAN, assured that the government prioritizes labor migration towards cooperation, economic growth, and participation. Amid her participation in the Business Forum, Lazaro made these remarks amid the ongoing oil crisis and economic impact of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East.
There has been a constant discussion between us, and of course this is also a mandate coming from the President. The MW every now and then tries to repatriate the Filipinos who really wanted to leave. I wanted to say this because all of our embassies around the world, 101 as of now, have contingency plans. During that meeting, again, we had political statements that this situation in the Middle East should really de-escalate.
Migrante Pilipinas has formed its own group to help Filipinos in the Middle East who were allegedly not being reached by the government aid and support. But they are worried about how to evacuate more than 2.5 million Filipinos based in the Middle East in case the conflict worsens.
Tinitignan natin na yung 2.5 million na Pilipino documented and undocumented sa Middle East ay paano mailigtas yun once na lumala ang gera. It's almost 20 days na ngayon yung gera, pero ever since yung first week pa lang nanawagan na kami na kung pwede iligtas na yung mga kababayan natin.
Meanwhile, in his statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Qatar condemned the Iranian attack on the Ras Laffan industrial city that caused serious damage to the facility. The conflict in the Middle East that began in February is entering its third week. This is ALVIN PELOBELLO for the Eurotv News.
A key development in an investigation into alleged flood control anomalies, the Department of Justice has removed engineer Henry Alcantara and a contractor from multiple graft and malversation cases after turning state witness on flood control project case. More from this report.
Former DPWH engineer Henry Alcantara and a DPWH contractor have been removed as respondents in the 3 cases of malversation and graft, according to the Department of Justice or DOJ. According to Justice spokesperson Polo Martinez, Alcantara and Sally Santos of SYMS Construction were dropped from cases after being admitted into the Witness Protection Program. Alcantara was also no longer included in the information files submitted to the court. Meanwhile, Santos will no longer face charges. Alcantara and Santos were officially declared as state witnesses in January, along with former DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo and former DPWH Regional Director Gerald Opulencia. Earlier, Justice Secretary Frederick Vida explained that becoming a state witness may lead to exemption from criminal liability for the accused. On the other hand, former DPWH Assistant Engineer Bryce Hernandez, JP Mendoza, and other individuals involved in the alleged anomalies in ghost and substandard flood control projects have been formally charged. The cases were initially filed on January 30, February 9, and February 13 in Bulacan, but was transferred to a court in Quezon City. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
Tensions continue to escalate in the West Philippine Sea as the Philippine authorities respond to reported harassment at sea. The Philippine Coast Guard has deployed vessels and aircraft to Bajo de Masinloc to protect Filipino fishermen. Henry Nicolas reports.
On March 17, 2026, the Philippine Coast Guard, in close coordination with the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, has immediately deployed surface vessels to Bajo de Masinloc, following the harassment by the Chinese Coast Guard vessels and Chinese maritime militia against Filipino fishermen. According to PCG spokesperson Rear Admiral J. Tariela, the mission is to ensure the safety and security of Filipino fishermen and to deliver essential support, including fuel, subsidies, ice, and food packs. Fishermen who witnessed the incidents have documented dangerous maneuvers by Chinese Coast Guard vessels. These actions included the repeated use of sirens and the launching of rigid-hull inflatable boats, significantly or specifically intended to drive Filipino fishermen away and prevent them from exercising their legitimate right to fish in Bajo de Masinloc. Prior to this, PCG Commandant Admiral Ronnie Hill Gavan directed the deployment of a PCG aircraft for a maritime domain awareness flight. It also verified the presence of more than 20 Filipino fishing boats operating in the vicinity of VDM, along with the continued presence of yellow buoys installed by Chinese since last year. During the flight, the PCG aircraft actively challenged the illegal presence of CCG and PLAN or PLA Navy vessels in Philippine waters. Notably, this was the first time a People's Liberation Army Air Force asset challenged a PCG aircraft. The Philippine Coast Guard remains steadfast in upholding President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s commitment to ensuring the safety and welfare of Filipino fishermen. This is Henry Nicolas for Eurotv News.
The Philippine National Police is raising alarm over the spread of misleading content online. Authorities warn that AI-generated videos are becoming more convincing and remind the public that spreading fake information is punishable by law. Henry Nicolas returns for the details.
The Philippine National Police reminds the public to be vigilant against artificial intelligence or AI-generated videos circulating online. Police General Jose Melencio Nartates Jr., Chief of the PNP, reminded everyone to stay vigilant, urged everyone to verify information before sharing. The PNP said these videos not only those impersonating police officers, but also other misleading content are created to appear real and can easily spread false information.
Ilang beses na ako bumalik dito! Sir, sandali lang po. Fast food to, di ba? Ito pagkala pinapakita niyo sa polis! Puta! Sir, wag na, sir. Ikaw! Ikaw nagkabala sa order ko! Hindi po namin nagkabala.
In the PNP-focused agenda under Enhanced Managing Police Operations, strengthening safeguards against misinformation, the PNP through Anti-Cybercrime Group is closely monitoring these AI-generated content activities and will file appropriate charges against violators. Nartates urged the public to verify information from official sources and think twice before sharing, and cooperation of the public helps protect the integrity of the police and the safety of our communities. This is Henry Nicolas for Eurotv News.
Authorities are reminding the public to be extra cautious when investing in property. The Department of Human Settlement and Urban Development warns that real estate scams remain widespread, especially online. Vanessa Cleophas has more.
The Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development, or DSUD, reminded Filipinos planning to buy a house, lot, or condominium unit, especially overseas Filipino workers or OFW, to always ensure that the developer is legitimate and has a license to sell in order to avoid being deceived or scammed. Brokers, they added, must also be properly licensed. According to DSUD Senior Undersecretary Sharon Faith Pakis, many people are still falling victim to illegal real estate transactions. She noted that such scams remain widespread, especially now that it is easier to deceive people through online platforms. As part of the DSUD's mandate to protect buyers, the agency continues to promote fact-checking so that it can more easily assist individuals in case they encounter problems when purchasing property from registered developers. Also part of the DSUD's effort to protect home buyers is the creation of the Anti-Illegal Real Estate Practice Interagency Task Force, composed of the Philippine National Police or PNP, the National Bureau of Investigation or NBI, and other enforcement agencies aimed at cracking down on real estate scammers.
Meron task force ng anti-illegal real estate practices. Ito po ay interagency. Ang purpose po talaga nito ay manghuli ng mga nanging-scam sa real estate at manghuli ng mga brokers na hindi lisensyado na nagbebenta. Kasi tandaan po natin sa mga home buyers natin, kahit po yung mga brokers natin dapat lisensyado ng DSUD. Huwag po kayo basta-basta maniniwala sa mga nagbebenta na hindi po sila lisensyado. Kasi po talaga po yan po yung mga call natin. May lisensya ka ba ng DSUD? Ganon. Ito bang proyekto, lisensyado ng DSUD? Asan ang license to sell? Kasi sa license to sell, makikita mo talaga doon kailan yung period of completion ng proyekto. Ang problema dyan, pag hindi sila rehistrado, wala sila ipapakita. At the point na wala maipakita, please think twice. Please think twice. Huwag na po tayong madaling maniwala sa mga ganon, lalo na po na yung ginagastos natin dito ay ating mga hard-earned money.
Yusek Pakis also emphasized that transactions conducted purely online without any supporting documents from the DSUD regarding the property being sold may already be considered illegal.
Facebook lang yan. Di ba kung messenger, napakadali po talaga mang-scam sa ganyan. Dapat po alam na natin na sa ating panahon ng digital stage talaga pong napakadaling mang-scam. Yun po yung amin. Kailangan po talaga yan, maging vigilant din po ang ating mga home buyers. Bago ka naman maglabas ng sarili mong perang inipon, siguraduhin mo naman din na tama yung pinag-i-investan mo.
While the agency remains open and ready to assist home buyer who file complaints regarding purchased properties, assistance is limited to those involving developers registered with the DSUD. Each housing project, she added, must have the proper permits. Subdivision projects must secure a development permit from the local government unit or LGU, while condominium project must obtain permits from the DSUD. By verifying these requirements with the developer, buyers can avoid being scammed. Meanwhile, as part of the DSUD task force focus on apprehending abusive groups or individuals who continue to deceive buyers, enforcement efforts have been intensified. Melvin Matibag, director of the NBI, and the DSUD secretary have strengthened the agency's law enforcement campaign to combat various forms of real estate malpractice that victimize Filipinos seeking decent, safe, and affordable housing. This also aligns with the directive of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to implement a whole-of-government approach in protecting Filipinos and their hard-earned money. This is Vanessa Cleophas for Eurotv News.
Lawmakers have approved at the committee level the proposed Disability Support Allowance Act granting monthly aid to PWDs. Catherine Landicho brings us the details.
House of Representatives Committee has approved House Bill number 4875, also known as the Disability Support Allowance Act, authored by Representative Kenneth Gatchalian. The proposed measure seeks to provide a monthly allowance of 2,000 pesos to all persons with disabilities or PWDs to help cover additional living expenses such as medication, transportation, and other daily needs.
Ito yung Disability Support Allowance Act. Ito yung bill na magbibigay ng 2,000 stipend o 2,000 tulong para sa atin mga persons with disabilities. So sa mga eligible na PWD natin, pag napasa itong batas, may makukuha tayong 2,000 per month. So sana masubaybayan niyo ito at ma-push natin para maisabatas itong bill na ito.
Under the bill, all registered PWDs with a valid ID will be eligible for the benefit, regardless of employment status or income level. The program will be implemented by the Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD and aims to promote independent living and reduce poverty among PWDs. Although the bill has been approved at the committee level, it still needs to go through further legislative process before it can be enacted into a law. If passed, the measure is expected to significantly support the daily expenses and improve the overall well-being of PWDs across the country. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
Efforts to address classroom shortages continue as the government rolls out faster solutions. President Marcos Jr. led the inspection on newly installed prefabricated classrooms in Bataan. Vanessa Cleophas returns for the details.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. together with the Department of Education or DepEd inspected 2 prefabricated classrooms at Mariveles National High School, Kabkaben Annex in Alas Asin, Bataan. This will serve as modular classrooms for students while the government addresses the shortage of classrooms across the country. Prefab classrooms are easier and faster to construct compared to traditional school buildings, which usually take months or even years to complete. These classrooms were completed in less than 2 weeks and can accommodate around 35 to 40 students per room. Under the ready-made prefab system, each part of the classroom is manufactured in a plant and then transported to the site where they are assembled piece by piece using welded connectors, cement mortar, and other durable materials to ensure quality. Like regular classrooms, these structures are built to be sturdy and can withstand strong winds and heavy rains. They also designed to endure earthquakes. According to DepEd, modular classrooms are among the most practical solution to temporarily ease overcrowding in classrooms, while the department continues to focus on the construction of long-term school buildings in partnership with local government units. The 2 prefabricated classrooms unit were donated by First Lady Luis Araneta Marcos and the Next Gen Foundation. Meanwhile, aside from the inspection, the President also witnessed the turnover of learning tablets from the provincial government of Bataan. He also visited the DepEd Medical Mission under the Yaman Kalusugan at Kalinga or YAKA program for students, as well as the SAPTO Learning Management System, which supports students in transitioning from traditional classroom learning to online learning environments. This is Vanessa Cleophas for Eurotv News.
The local government of Marikina City has launched a Bike to Work program to encourage employees to cycle going to work. Catherine Landicho returns with the details.
The local government of Marikina City has officially launched a Bike to Work program for its employees, reinforcing its long-standing push to become a bike-friendly community. According to Mayor Manquidoro, the city's Bikeways office has been directed to ensure that all entry facilities are fully functional. These include changing areas, rest spaces, and preparation zone for employees and cyclists before they begin their workday. As part of the initiative, the Pajak Papasok program will also provide incentive to department with the highest number of employees who commute by bicycle. The program will run until December this year.
Lahat ng departamento sa ating lungsod. Paramihan ng empleyado na nagbabike papasok sa trabaho. Ang programang ito ay tatakbo hanggang December 2026. At syempre, bilang motivation, ang departamento na may pinakamalaking porsyento ng empleyadong nagbabike to work ay magkakaroon ng award at incentives.
Additionally, the city government is installing bike racks in various schools across Marikina. Business establishments are also being encouraged to set up their own bike racks to make their spaces more accessible to cyclists. The program aims to promote a safer, healthier, and more environmentally friendly way of Marikina residents to commute to work. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
More than 31.4 million pesos worth of counterfeit data storage devices was seized by the National Bureau of Investigation, National Capital Region in separate operations in Manila. The operations aim to curb the spread of high-capacity storage electronics bearing fake trademarks of well-known international brands. In an operation conducted in Quiapo, Manila, authorities confiscated 5,474 units of assorted SD, micro SD, SDHC, and SDXC memory cards, as well as USB flash drives and hard drives bearing counterfeit SanDisk Ultra, and Extreme Pro branding valued at more than 23.36 million pesos. Meanwhile, in San Miguel, Manila, authorities seized 1,124 units of 2 terabyte and 4 terabyte external portable hard drives bearing the counterfeit Seagate trademark valued at more than 8 million pesos. In total, the seized counterfeit devices amounted to more than 31.45 million pesos. The establishment involved in the storage, sale, and distribution of these products now face trademark infringement charges under the Section 155 in relation to Section 170 of the Republic Act 8293 or the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. According to NBI Director Melvin Matibag, the Bureau remains committed to protecting intellectual property rights and ensuring the public is safeguarded from counterfeit products that may not meet safety and performance standards.
Mayon volcano remains under alert level 3 according to the PHIVOLCS. Based on the latest 24-hour monitoring, lava flows were observed in the Basud, Bonga, and Miisi-Gulez, reaching up to 3.8 kilometers. The agency also recorded 263 volcanic earthquakes, 306 rockfall events, and 5 pyroclastic density current signals. Sulfur dioxide emissions reached 4,352 tons per day as of March 18. Ground deformation was also observed, indicating continued magma movement beneath the volcano. Although the summit remains cloud-covered, hazardous activities such as lava flows and ash emissions remain possible. Authorities continue to prohibit entry within the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone.
The United States is distancing itself from a major escalation in the Middle East conflict. U.S. President Donald Trump insists Washington had no involvement in the reported strike on Iran's South Pars gas field. Son Santiago with the report.
United States President Donald Trump said Washington had no involvement in the recent strike on Iran's South Pars gas field on Wednesday. In a recent post on Truth Social, Trump lashed out saying the attack was carried out by Israel, describing it as an out-of-anger reaction driven by continuing tensions in the Middle East. He stressed that the United States had no prior knowledge of the operation and was not involved in any way. This statement comes after reports suggested the strike had been conducted by Israel with U.S. consent. The South Pars gas field is part of the world's largest natural gas reserve, shared by Iran and Qatar, and is a key source of global energy supply. According to Al Jazeera, the whole field holds about 1,800 trillion cubic feet of usable gas, enough to supply the entire world's needs for 13 years. In retaliation, Iran launched attacks on several Gulf countries, targeting oil and gas facilities in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. Trump described Iran's response as unjustified as he cited the strike on Ras Laffan industrial city in Qatar, which houses, if not the world's largest liquefied natural gas export facility. He then issued a strong order saying Israel would not be attacking the South Pars site again. He also warned if Iran launches more attacks, especially against the Qatari facility, Washington is prepared to respond with overwhelming force, targeting the entirety of the said gas field. Beside Iran's continued control over the Strait of Hormuz, the recent escalation has added pressure on global energy markets. International reports said oil prices have risen following the attack on South Pars, indicating an increase of about 4%, pushing prices to around $112 per barrel. Meanwhile, Israel has not publicly confirmed responsibility for the strike as of the time being. This is Son Santiago for Eurotv News.
Fans of Thai pop music have something to look forward to this May. Buzz is set to hold its first Asia FanCon tour stop in Manila as part of the first Light. Sam Martos tells us the details.
Get ready to dance and sing along to their exciting performances as for the first time the Thai boy band Because of You I Shine, more popularly known as Buzz, will visit the country for their Asia FanCon tour titled The First Light. This was shared by Live Nation Philippines on their Instagram account where the group invited Filipino fans to join their upcoming tour.
Because of You I Shine, bro, Buzz! Hello Manila, we are Buzz!
We have some exciting news. We are preparing something special for all of you.
It's Summer Buzz, the first Asia FanCon tour, the first Light in Manila.
Don't forget to mark your calendars for May 24th at the New Frontier Theater.
We can't wait to see all of you! So get ready to dance and sing along with us! Ticket information at worldwideweb.livenation.net. See you soon, Manila!
Yeah! The group composed of 12 members under Sunrise Music and formed in 2023 after being selected through their win in the Thai reality show 789 Survival. Some of their most popular songs are the song Because of You I Shine, Watch Your Step, No Matter What, Liar, and many more. Aside from Manila, the group also visit Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur, Jakarta, Tokyo, Taipei, Seoul, and Singapore. Starting on March 27, their FanCon tour tickets can be purchased at all ticket outlets nationwide and via ticketnet.com. Meanwhile, Buzz Asia First FanCon Tour The First Light will take place on May 24, 2026 at the New Frontier Theater in Quezon City. This is Sam Martos for Eurotv Showbiz News.
And that's the latest news for tonight. You may visit eurotv.ph.com for more news and information. Once again, I am KRIZZA Lopez.
You may also catch our live broadcast through our social media accounts at Viapan Extreme channel. I am ALVIN PELOBELLO. Thanks for joining us. This is Eurotv News Thread. Stay safe and have a good night, everyone. It's Friday tomorrow.